Hey everyone, I'm your host Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we are going to talk about real estate. But it's not just any kind of real estate. More specifically, the kind of real estate when you are building. A lot of people bought and are building their very first home. And we have the expert coming to the stage today to help us get to a better mindset and to do this thing the right way. And she is phenomenal. She is jam-packed. You won't want to miss 1 second of what she has to share. Stay tuned. Stay with us. Here we go. Hey, Gentleman Style family, this is your boy Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, your favorite gentleman, and I have Miss Monika Zasada coming to you live with over 25 years of expertise. She helps everyone, families, loved ones, near and far, get to a better place in home construction. She is your home construction curator. She acts as the homeowner's representative to help you in design consultation, project management, and construction therapist, because building and buying your first home can be overwhelming. But she is here to help you make that transition easy. She takes you from A to Z, from the aha moment of the idea, from the actual inception of designing and building out and planning your first home, to the actual housewarming party where she turns things out and she makes it come alive, and she makes owning your first home beautiful and magical with a tender touch, and all 25 years of experience really shows you and really makes this home sink in and make it that much more epic. Miss Monika is here today on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, here to give back and to serve. And I am so excited to have her. And I can't hold this phenomenal woman back any further. So help me, without further ado, Miss Monika, your home curator. Welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, Miss Monika. How are you?
I am so fantastic, Marcus, and I cannot wait to share my knowledge with your audience. And I don't think I have ever been on a podcast with so much positive, upbeat energy. So fantastic. I'm feeling fantastic, and thank you for having me.
We are fantastic to have you. One more round of applause for her, y'all. Woo! This is epic, and I'm so excited to have you here, Miss Monika. Your story is incredible. You have done some tremendous work, and it is not easy. Buying your first home, building your first home is insane. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started in this industry, and what inspires you and encourages you to do what you do? Because it's not easy to do what you do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it's not easy to do what I'm doing, because anything to do with renovating, adding to, or building your home, which, by the way, all that deserves the terminology of construction. A lot of people think that construction only means building a home from scratch. But I have been practicing, just like Marcus said, for 25 years. I'm sure you can hear it, a woman, and a woman with an accent. And the building industry is a very male-dominated industry. Interestingly enough, my life was supposed to have a completely different trajectory. I was born, raised, and educated in Poland. And my career was supposed to be the career in American literature. I majored in American literature. I was offered a position to teach the literature at the university. And then I realized it would be so silly to do that without visiting the country. So I came to the United States with $10 that had been bestowed by some uncle of ours who left Poland after the Second World War. My mom gave me the $10. So with the $10 and with the money I made from translating a book, How to Live with Irritable Bowel Syndrome, from English to Polish in 2 weeks, drinking copious amounts of coffee, I was able to buy a ticket. And here I am in the United States, 30 years later, and 25 of these years, again, totally connected with the building industry. Why is that? Because even when facing or looking forward to this prestigious position of a professor at the university, the very idea of owning my own place was really very central. And that's actually what prolonged my original stay in the United States, because I wanted to save enough money to be able to buy an apartment in Poland, because my position would have been very prestigious but not very well paid. So again, 30 years later, I am in the building industry thanks to one very, I would say, blisteringly cold night when I was asked by a friend, a contractor, general contractor, what I want to do. And I said, I want a challenge. So he invited me to help him build his firm, and I was instrumental in turning his then basement-based outfit into a multi-million-dollar general contracting company. And then I went on my own, and I am offering the service whose name is demystifies. And that was bestowed on me by a client who said, Monika, before you, I felt as if I were in a maze with my project. I didn't know what my first step should be. I didn't know whether to turn left or right. And she asked me, do you realize that you cracked the code? You are so demazing. Hence my service is called demazing. And just like Marcus said, buying, renovating, adding on, or building a new home is a huge undertaking. And 92%, according to McKinsey report from 2020, which the results can only be worse now, post-pandemic, labor shortages, material shortages, 92% of projects, real estate projects, experience delays. 68% of homeowners blow their budgets. So it's an undeniable fact that every project is either a mini or a maxi horror story. And the reasons are two. One, building industry is a very messy place that sort of creates a situation in which all the participants, homeowners, design professionals like interior designers and architects, contractors, trades, and by trades I mean every single person that will need to appear in your house so that whatever you have in your mind can be executed. Some painters, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, tile installers, right, are finding themselves in a situation that they have to always defend their position, and that is because of the flawed process that puts them together in the first place. And the second huge reason why all those projects turn into mini or maxi horror story is that there is really no comprehensive, solid knowledge that is available to homeowners to make them aware of what the process is, what they need to know, what their role is, how to control the costs of their project. So again, these two reasons.
Thank you for that. And thank you for breaking that down, because that's true. It's a nightmare to build your first home, and it can be overwhelming, from blueprints to working with the bank to working with your real estate agent, right? And then if you're currently in a home, selling that home or moving out of where you're currently staying, all of that can be overwhelming. Miss Monika, what are some things people can do to in the first very initial steps when preparing for home renovations? What are the first things someone should do when seeking you out for your services and your help?
Well, I can be easily found on my website, which is de-mazing.com, where you have an opportunity to book a free construction therapy session. You can, if you like to talk, if you are a reader, there is a free ebook, 3 home construction must-haves. And I also have a brand new 1 hour and 9 minutes, to be exact, free masterclass that you can watch to educate yourself. So the very first thing you need to do is to get solid information and knowledge. You see, most people rely on watching HDTV shows or Netflix shows, right? And they are extremely entertaining and absolutely fantastic sources for design inspiration, meaning to give you ideas. Do I like this type of window or do I like this color? But they are not the best sources for comprehensive and realistic information. There is no way you can, for instance, as these shows would like to make you believe, that you can have a total gut renovation of your kitchen, meaning ripping all the cabinets, changing the positioning of your sink, and then buying new appliances, installing new cabinets, painting everything, installing new electric, having your new faucet installed, having new countertops installed for $5,000. It's not realistic. So what these shows do, which is not really serving the audience well, is just letting us have completely unrealistic expectations. So that's not the best thing to do. So again, what you need to do is to educate yourself. And the very first question you must answer, which then will put your project on a very clear trajectory, very, very streamlined path, is to decide which of the three organizing components of the project is most important to you. What is your focus? So each project, no matter how small or how large, from repainting of your kitchen cabinets to building a brand new home from scratch, has three organizing components, and that is quality, budget, and schedule. So based on my own example, when I was buying my very first home, I didn't have a lot of money. So of course, my home was not a turnkey mansion. It was a very, very modest home. But because I wanted to lead with quality, which is what I invite you to lead with, because quality will eventually create equity in your home and will make you feel proud and will bring you pleasure, because of course things of quality and finishes on quality, so solid, solid kitchen cabinets that have solid drawers and not wobbly ones, right, serve you to experience your home in a very pleasurable way. So I led with quality. I invite you to do the same. But because quality costs more money, I decided not to enlarge the square footage of my home. I decided not to put an addition. And then the money that I would have spent for all this additional effort, which would require, excavating, digging a hole in the ground, pouring foundation, then building the home, framing it, building walls, building a roof, installing new windows, installing all other things like heat, air conditioning, plumbing, electricity. I made a conscious decision, because my focus was quality, to stay within this blueprint. And a lot of people having very modest budgets, for instance, again, go to the shows and then they get excited about, these beautiful things that they cannot afford in the first place. And they, for instance, browse luxury magazines that only sell very high ticket items and fully priced, instead of, for instance, going out of business places, garage sales, clearance sales, or waiting for high quality items to go on sale, again, to buy it for half a price. And at the same time, the most important thing that you can do, right? If you bet on on quality, and you have limited budget, you need to understand that you need to dedicate enough time in the lifetime of your project, right, to educate yourself. And by that, what I mean, instead of being mesmerized by certain things, for instance, a lot of my female clients say, "Oh, Monika, I absolutely adore the foyer of Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City. Great fan. She walks into this beautiful foyer where there is beautiful round table with a huge vase of flowers, right? and
Right.
she just kicks off her high heel shoes. Now, if you are the mother of two toddlers who is perpetually covered with saliva and vomit and has a dog, okay, and you walk into your house on an apartment with two strollers, you cannot have just, you cannot have the same foyer that Carrie Bradshaw had. You have to have a sturdy environment with a bench, with hooks to hang all the leash for your dog, and some backpack that you carry with diapers and milk formula, and a big closet where you can shove the strollers so that your foyer looks neat and organized. So you need to spend a lot of time really thinking how you live your lifestyle in every single room of your apartment or house. Not only what you do, but specifically how you do it, because that informs what this room will look like and what it will ultimately have. The mistake that people make is that they start with the aesthetics, they start with the design and the way things look. It should be the other way around. Another good example is the kitchen. I was with a client in Portugal. He is building a new home, and we went to the cabinet showroom. Fantastic. And then we were in a rental apartment trying to ascertain whether what was drawn on the preliminary plans would actually serve him. And we decided that it wasn't, that he likes to operate within a U-shaped kitchen, and that there is a very specific chronology in which he performs tasks, right? Which was actually very, very fascinating for me, because all I do in the kitchen is boil water for my tea and unpack pastries.
How
So,
did you find that out from where he previously lived, that he had that habit of going in a certain order? How did you discover that?
yes, so it was we were talking about his kitchen in Panama, because he also has an apartment in Panama, and we were just saying like how much better that kitchen could be. And this is how we discovered that the U-shaped kitchen would be the best. So the first thing he does is he chops things, right? So he chops because he likes to make things from scratch. So it's important at the beginning of the U-shape, and you do it clockwise, right? To have chopping boards. Then next to that is to have other things, and then you walk around and you get to a stove, and while he is cooking, he likes to have his spices on the right hand side, and not in this how should I put it, scenario in which you have them by pulling a part of the cabinet and having them to your right on the rows, standing up. He likes to be looking down in the drawer to see the spices lying down with the names up. It's a very,
So
very, very, personal
ergonomical. Yeah.
preference. Yes. Another example is, do we have time for another example, Marcus? I'm just checking.
I want to transition. I think you've made
Great.
your point. You've
Okay.
made your point very solid. So you dove deep and you found out what your customers like, and you made sure that fit the blueprint, and you were able to make transitions and make cuts in the blueprints, because you realize he doesn't actually need this, or she doesn't actually need this space, because it's not going to serve them in the best way.
Correct. And it doesn't cost, or it costs very little to pay your architect to redraw, rather than walking in the middle of construction and making these changes. So study what you are going to do in each room, how exactly you are going to do it. That will inform the aesthetic and the design, so that you don't regret your decisions.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. That is very dope, because you're saving money in the because you can't take that wall out. That makes so much sense. How do you find contractors, right? You hear there's horror stories in that. Oh, this contractor took my money, they disappeared on me. How do you find trustworthy contractors and the right architect to do these designs? How do you vet them? What's the process there?
I see. So let's start with the contractors, because of course, almost everybody thinks that every single contractor is a shady character who is out there to rip you off. So Contractors are human beings that are nice human beings, and they are not very nice human beings. So I would advise you to look for a contractor who has deep roots in your community. So the great place to find a good contractor is to go to the building department where you live, ask building inspectors for the contractors that they value and respect, because building inspectors are visiting construction sites to approve certain stages of the project. So they know which contractors perform good quality work. And then also you see you can also go to hardware stores or ask the architect that because architects and contractors also like to refer each others. And then the on the question of the architect, see, if you are the person who has very well defined design tendencies and you know exactly what you like, you might not necessarily work very good with an architect who has very strong brand, because you might clash. So then a more appropriate architect would be for you someone who will be flexible and willing enough to draw exactly what it is that you want, of course giving you their professional opinion and making sure that's what is drawn is to code. You don't want to be violating codes, right? And again, the same advice I would say about architect is that the one that applies to contractor. Again, someone who is rooted in the community. Ask the building inspector, ask a contractor, ask around. Also ask your friends, because you see, your friends who have gone through the process are going to really share with you honest and solid information. So they would tell you what was important to them. And I so strongly believe, Marcus, in chemistry. You are a renovation can, well, of course, depending on how large it is, but it can sometimes, some of my projects took more than 2 years, right? So do you want for 2 years be dealing with people who you don't like? I don't like it. In my practice, I really build teams that are very collaborative, that are like-minded, because while the process of building is very complex, and sometimes despite the best planning, you just are going to encounter very, very unexpected things. You want to be doing it with people who are like-minded, who want your project to be a success. So I really believe in the chemistry, and I invite people, which is counterintuitive, to actually quote unquote date your architect and a contractor, right? So interview as many of these professionals as possible. Ask them a lot of questions. See how they behave. See if the way in which they communicate themselves is really in sync with your own preferences, because that is very, very, very important. And here is the biggest myth busting advice: ditch the competitive bidding process. The problem with this is that competitive bidding is based on very rudimentary preliminary plans that leave so much to interpretation that any competitive bidding and pricing based on that is a complete waste of time. So hire an architect and a builder at the same time. Share what your budget is. However, subtract 25% of your budget. So let's say your budget for home renovation is 100,000, right? Tell your team that you selected through dating, asking around, vetting, etc. Tell your team that your budget is 75,000 and tell them what your program is, and then they will work together. The architect will design something with the contractor, who will be giving them the information about the pricing at the same time, so that your wishes and the design fit your budget. You are expediting your pre-construction phase, and then at the same time making sure that, again, what is designed fits your budget.
So that's unique. So traditionally, I guess we typically have the architect design the house to the specifications, and then I bring it to the contractor to build out what the architect picked. You're actually encouraging for them to actually work together so that the architect can relay, hey, we want to do this. Well, that's not what I can allow. I don't have the materials, or I can't do this based off of the budget we have. So that forces them to work together.
Correct.
That's
So
unique.
that is sort of, people are telling me this is completely myth busting, but that's another thing that I don't understand, is like why people are not open about sharing what their budget is.
Mm,
It completely derails project. And I mean, I've heard so many stories when the clients spend money on, on plans, and then it goes out to bidding, only to discover that the prices that are coming back are twice as to what the budget was. I mean, it's a complete and utter waste of plans, waste of time and money.
you're right. You're so right. I thank you for that, and thank you for that debunking that myth, because that's huge. How do people avoid being overwhelmed? Right, because all of this can be overwhelming, and you make it look so easy in what you do. That's why you're amazing, right? Because you take the mystery and you take the clutter and you organize it in a way. But how can people not be stressed out? And I think that's what scares a lot of people from even pursuing their
Mhm.
first, building their first home, because it can be a lot.
It is a lot, right? And it is complex, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. So I don't know how about you, but the minute I get informed about something, and the minute I understand the process of something, and the minute I realistically am aware of how long it will take, I am setting my expectations. So expectations are absolutely huge. If you think that you can build a new home in 3 months, you are going to be disappointed. But if you educate yourself, you will know that it will take, again, depending on how big the home is or how elaborate your finishes are and what you want it done, it is months or years potentially, right? So extremely important is the setting of the expectation. Also, what is really great and always works is you take a picture of, let's say you are building a new home, right? So you take a picture of a hole in the ground after it's excavated, right? Then about 6 weeks after your foundation is poured and backfilled, you take another picture, right? So then you can actually, when you think, oh my goodness, my project is not progressing as quickly as possible, you can go back and look at the pictures and actually see how huge the project it is that you made. So celebrating each steps and setting your expectations, I say, is how you avoid being burnt out.
I love that.
And again, and spending a lot of time examining yourself and your lifestyle, so that you are very clear what it is that you like, and are not all over the place choosing something that is completely inappropriate and doesn't serve you or your lifestyle.
Yeah. I love the example you gave in the very beginning of this episode, where the mother who's has two baby strollers wants the Kim Kardashian foyer. That's not gonna work. That's not economical to what you want to do. So that is powerful. That is powerful. Monica, how can people connect with you? How can we learn more? And how can we what cities, what states do you cover? What area do you cover?
Well, I actually I have practiced in Europe, in Panama, in the United States, right? So the things that I teach in my master class, right? Irrespective of how big or small your project is or where you live, certain things will always be the same. Okay, so the first decision you need to make, the three organizing components of your project, the three aspects of your project, which is documentation, execution, and decision making, are constant. What will change in your project will be the building codes, but then no worries, because your architect will know, and the building methods, again, no worries, your contractor will take care of that, right? So you can find out more on my website with these three possible, free resources for you, which is the construction therapy session. I call it tool up session. the ebook that will pop up when you go on my website. And I can also share with Marcus link to my free masterclass. Again, an hour and 9 minute long masterclass that comes with a very special invitation at the end. So make sure you watch it until the very end. So 3 free resources. If you are really serious about your project, I encourage you to invest your time in learning what it is that will be involved, and then taking the next step if you feel you want to make the serious investment to protect your investment, because your home is such a huge investment. It is investment on a financial level, right? I mean, for so many of us, the home is the biggest investment of our life. And then by building quality in your home, you can then, I live in Sag Harbor, New York, to answer your question, Marcus, which is the Hamptons, the playground of rich and famous, quote unquote. I don't know where it came from, where every person who means something in politics or business or fashion wants to have their second home. So I bought a home which is very small, but in a very good location, because location is key. So buy very modest home in a great location rather than a mansion in a bad location. And the value of my home quadrupled. So I was able to take the home equity line of credit and I invested it. So your home can be the source of passive income for you. So I think it's the best investment. For me it is, and especially with volatile markets now, it's even more precious to me. So I encourage you to invest in your home for financial reasons and also for emotional reasons. I always wanted to have a home, to have a place where my books live and where, I gather with family and friends and I live a meaningful life.
This is gold. This is nuggets. This is impactful. Woo-hoo! You guys, this is amazing. You have taken something that seems monstrous and just dubbed it down and made it really, really simple for us. What final words? You've dropped so many nuggets this episode. What final encouragement would you give to that young girl, that young boy out in the audience who's just terrified about buying their first home, and they need someone like you to really debunk a lot of those myths and really just say woosah? Any final words, tips, nuggets, anything you'd like to share to that young girl or boy?
Yes, I would say empower yourself with knowledge and think about your project as the best movie, right? Every good movie has twists and turns. So it's good drama, good action, right? But if you have all of that resting securely on the knowledge that you ought to first acquire to take these steps, spending enough time to educate yourself will then produce this excellent action movie that you will be the main character. In the end, you are going to get the home exactly that you like within the budget that you can afford. So it's just the best outcome, and all the effort is so well worth it. Your home is the core and the best place to, again, live your life.
Mic drop. Mic drop. I love that. Thank you, Monika. This has been an epic episode. Thank you for sharing nuggets, and I'll bring that back up on the screen one more time, please. D Amazing for my audio listeners. That's www.d/amazing.com. Connect, 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 and don't be scared. Go after your goals. Go after the beautiful home, and let Monika and her team help you. All right, guys, we got to let Miss Monika go. She has many more consultations to make and many more families to help. And we put that link in the show notes. We'll be sure to get that to you guys. If you guys missed anything this episode, connect, connect, connect. Thank you, Miss Monika. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me here. I'm more than happy to hear the tips. And the best of lucks with your home projects.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this helps. I hope this served you. Like I always end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always, always take care of business. Marcus Norman signing off, and Miss Monika, your home renovation expert. Love you guys. Bye. Bye.